Hello, you're welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time in this channel, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the post notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we drop more videos like this. On today's video, I'll be sharing my story of how I reduced charge for a first-time client and what my experience was on that particular day. So a certain lady reached out to us on WhatsApp saying she had seen our profile on Instagram and she loved our skin finish and she wanted exactly that skin finish for herself and two of her sisters. She went further to ask for a rate card and I made inquiries to confirm if it was a studio session or home service appointment, and she indicated it was a home service appointment. So I asked for a location so I could check how much our travel expense would cost. So I called my driver and my driver told me that the location was for 85,000 naira. I called her to tell her the cost that my rider had obviously told me. So she was like, it's really expensive, that I'm also charging her for traveling, and then that's a lot considering the fact that it's not just her and it's going to be like she and two other of her sisters paying full home service fees by each person and still charging her for travel fees, and then this transport, that it's a lot, that I should try to help her and cut down on some of the expenses for her, that she really wants me to be the one to do this makeup, that she loves my work, and I should please at least look into her plea that even if it's the travel expense that I should cut it out, since I'm going to be leaving there before 10 a.m. She was like, from that place to GRA is like 1 hour drive. She doesn't even know why the guy is saying the guy is even charging me 85k when is literally going to be there for like less than 4 hours, give or take. And the entire trip is not going to take up to 5 hours. So if we leave by 5 a.m., we're supposed to be there before 7, and then we leave before 10:30 or 11ish. That is not going to take like the entire day. It's just going to take our entire morning. That we should please reconsider. So she was of the opinion that I go to the park and try to see if I can get another rider. So I went to the park to see if I can get another rider that would be cheaper, since she was sounding like the 85,000 naira that the other my rider had called was insensitive. So I got to the park and I finally got a rider that agreed for 30,000 naira. So that night I obviously had to like camp my studio assistant and then the person that was going to like help tie gilly for the three of them. So on getting to that morning, we were ready, and then I called the rider that I'd agreed for 30,000 naira. The rider cancelled on me that morning and told me he made his inquiries and found out that the place is really far and there was no way he was going to go for that amount. So I was like, okay, how much would you charge now? He said he cannot come, that he doesn't even know the route to the place, that based off of what his colleague described for him, that the description she gave me and the landmark she sent me is wrong, that is not accurate, that she sent it as though the place is really close, that's not the correct landmark, and that landmark she sent me was obviously not going to like lead us to our community. So I said, okay, no problem. So I tried to see if I can get a boat rider that would take me to the park where they would take me to the community, because she had sounded initially like if you get to so park and they take you to so place, that's how easy, because she had even suggested I use public transport initially and I refused. So I was like, girls, let's just hit the road. I was in a hurry at that point, so I had to book a ride. The ride took us to a certain park. From that park we entered the vehicle, they took us to another park, and that park we're supposed to like get a vehicle that was supposed to take us directly to their house. So on getting to that park, we couldn't get a vehicle anymore. What was available to us in that park was mainly bikes, and honestly I am so scared of bikes, the way they drive, the air, and then the fact that I had my equipment and they were going to be exposed like that. I was like, God, please help me. I stayed there for like 20 minutes thinking if I should turn back, if I shouldn't, what am I doing, what have I gotten myself into. The client was not calling me at that point. I didn't even know what to tell her. I just told her, we're on our way, please give us time, because obviously we were already running late for the appointment. So at the end of all my back and forth thinking and everything, I obviously had to up on the bike. Now they took us to the community and I asked her of the compound I was supposed to like describe, and then she told us I should tell anybody in the community, that they would know the place to like describe for them, to describe to us rather, that the name of the, that I should just tell anybody in the community that I'm going to the senator's house. So that's how I told when we got to the community and I was asking, we're going to the senator's house. That's how everybody was just describing the place for us. Like, at that point, I didn't even know how to feel, because what am I going to do in the senator's house? Because obviously this lady had sounded like they could not, like they didn't have sufficient funds to even like afford my fees, and I'm going to a senator's house. I was still in that moment of denial where I was saying no, maybe it's just a friend of the senator's wife or something. No, but I don't think if it's a friend of the senator's wife, before you be a friend of the senator's wife, you should have money. So I was still in my feelings until I got to the compound and I saw a really, really big mansion. There were lots of cars in front. I went inside and then they told me that the senator's wife is the first person I'm doing her makeup, that she's the one that actually wants the service, and then two of her sisters. I said, wow. So when I started doing the senator's wife makeup, I had to like give a situation report of what happened and what happened with my ride and what happened that morning. Now I managed to get there. And she was like, oh, she's so sorry that we're going to be fully compensated for all our troubles. And then they were going to make a vehicle available that was going to like take us back. I said, okay. So she was like, after our makeup, I'm going to like do two of our sisters' makeup, and afterwards that they will get a vehicle that will definitely take us back. That I shouldn't worry. I said, okay. After finishing the makeup sessions, her sister now came to me and said, that there's no available vehicle, or that they've checked around and there's no available vehicle, that we should sort out ourselves. And that was how everybody left the mansion and left me and my staffs or my team rather. My team, because I obviously had the staff and then a daily vendor that came with me. So they left us there with their staffs, and then they were at the community square doing their burial right stuff. I was so frustrated. There was no network. I literally couldn't get a ride, nothing. I even had the studio appointment that day for like 1 p.m. that I had already taken. I was hoping I was going to get there before that time. Mind you, I had finished before 11. So if there was a ride available, in 2 hours, I should have gotten back to Port Harcourt. And maybe I would have been 30 minutes late for my appointment, but I would have met up. And the client I had for that particular session is like a returning client that is a friend of the brand, and she would have obviously understood, or maybe I would have discounted her. But I ended up cancelling the appointment with her and rebooking somebody else to do the makeup for her, so she doesn't get stranded. So I waited in the mansion till it was like 2 p.m. ish. I kept calling the lady, and she was telling me, they are coming, they were going to come, they are looking for a ride and all of that. And then we stayed in the mansion till the lady came with a vehicle, and then she asked us to enter. We entered the vehicle dropped us at the park where we entered the bike. They did not take us to Port Harcourt like they promised. And mind you, when she was telling us to enter the vehicle, I asked her, ma'am, you've not sent me my balance. And she was like, don't worry, just go. We're going to like settle over the phone that there's even no network. And truly there was no network. So she was like, just go. So we had to like find our way back to Port Harcourt. And then after that day, she didn't reach out for my balance. I didn't also reach out. I believed that she had sense and she would definitely reach out. But she didn't, so I waited for like 2 days and I had to reach out myself. And she was like, oh, it's okay, send your account details. And I sent, and she sent me like the flat balance of what we had agreed initially. Mind you, even using that means of transport, I had spent more than 30,000 naira paying transport for 3 persons, including myself. I spent more than that 30,000 naira that I told her. So I was like, madam, you're supposed to give me more than this amount. This is what it is I spent. And by right, you're supposed to like compensate me for my troubles, because you literally made me enter bike and all of that. And what if my equipment had come back during this process and all of that? And then the next thing, my madam changed them for me. She sent me a long epistle of message telling me this, I'm not professional, I'm not that. And at the end of it, I looked at everything and I said, truly I'm not professional, because tell me why I'll leave there without collecting my balance. and tell me why I'll leave Port Harcourt in the morning when a rider cancelled on me to come and do a job without getting a ride that was going to take me straight down to her location. So I said, truly, what she said was right. I just didn't want to argue at this point. I had to collect what she had paid me, that was the initial agreed money, and just leave. And then after she had sent me all that messages expecting that I was going to like lash back at her, and I did not lash back at her, she now sent me like an extra 20k to like complete for my expenses for the transport that I told her I'd spent more. She now sent me, I think, an extra 20k. So after she did that, I didn't even say anything. I didn't even text her, nothing. I didn't tell her thank you, nothing. I just left because the messages that she had sent me were obviously not nice. So there was no way I was going to like pamper her for sending me such messages. But this whole story of mine that I'm sharing is also to share my lesson as well as my experience that I've shared. This incident taught me to know how to position my brand and know how to be very, very professional when it comes to clients. Clients are never your friend, no matter how they sound to you on phone. Please, business is business. Be very, very, very professional at all times. And if you charge a particular amount, stick to your charge and stick to your business protocols. If not, clients will tell you how unprofessional you are for compromising because you don't feel maybe they are in need. And at the end of the day, you see that these people even have this money to pay you. So that was what I learned from this experience that I just shared with you all, my YouTube fam. If you watched this video to this point, thank you very much. Please hit the thumbs up button, drop a beautiful comment about this makeup look and what you learned from my story, and stay glued to this page because we'll be dropping more gems.